Try it again.
Hello, and welcome to the Race to Alaska podcast.
I think it's more like hello, period. Hello, and welcome to the...
Howdy. Welcome to the Race to Alaska podcast.
No way. Hello and welcome to the Race to Alaska podcast. Once again, I'm here with the 2024 Dirtbag of the Year, Liam Paris.
And fastest wood stove ever to Race to Alaska.
And fastest wood stove ever to Race to Alaska on his Contessa. This is Team Fairly Fleabag.
That's me.
And Team Fairly Fleabag 2.
Return of the Bag.
Return of the Bag for Washington 360. We brought Liam in as one of this year's interviewers. I hope you can hear through his Canadian accent.
Just cut out all the A's when you do the editing, and yeah, you can disguise it.
No, we'll leave that to the audience to work through. So, Liam here first came to us a bunch of years ago as a volunteer because he's a rabid Race to Alaska fan
For a long time.
longer than me.
Yeah.
As the boss.
2017?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows what I was doing in 2017?
Tall
But
ships.
you first came tall ships.
Yeah.
You first came to volunteer when?
2022, I think it was, down in Victoria.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
was my first year when I was the race marshal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took care of
Jesse screaming in the rapids, "We're fools!"
Yeah. So that was when you were the dock boss of Victoria.
That was the next year, actually. First year, I was just that unknown guy. It was a great time, though.
I was just a rando on the streets.
It was all the cool people that got me stuck into it, though. That was the reason I keep coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then you came back and you volunteered for just about everything you can. You help out big with the Wooden Boat Festival in September. Make a pitch to everyone out there who is never going to do Race to Alaska, or maybe hasn't done Race to Alaska yet, wants to get close to it, why they should volunteer for Race to Alaska.
Oh, it's the best way to get close to a whole schwack load of really cool people. The race just attracts the coolest adventurers and honestly the nicest people you'll ever meet.
On that note, you talked to Team Death Warrant, and I don't think you
Yeah.
asked them about their name.
I didn't. I think after talking to them, though, it was pretty obvious that they have some kind of a death wish, or maybe just a pain wish, you know.
Uh-huh. What did you think of them?
I think they're going to have a great time. I don't think I'd want to be on that boat. I did the math afterwards. They have 4 feet of freeboard on a 25-foot catamaran.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
If you think about that, that's like carrying 6 full-size sheets of plywood sideways down a road every time you try to go anywhere.
By the time you listen to this, if you go to the Race to Alaska website, their team page should be up. You should be able to see a photo of this thing. It is interesting.
Yeah, it looks like a much larger boat, and then you talk to them and you realize it's 25 feet, and you're like, wow, it's a really interesting boat.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's stop blabbing and listen to your conversation with Death Warrant.
Now, are you a prior racer as well?
Yeah, I did it last time it ran in 24 solo on a Contessa, but I think a little fast or a little slower rather than you guys are going to be on that beast of a machine you have.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
We're hoping, yeah.
We have to get it from North Carolina all the way to Port Townsend. So by Google calculations, we're at like 3,088 miles. So there's a lot that can go wrong between there. So.
Well, and you guys are what, 10-foot beam too? So do you have to have like an overwidth permit, or how the heck are you getting it out here?
So we do. It's 10.5 or 10.6, 10 and a half feet. And so, yeah, we're going to need to get permits for all the states we go through, and probably look to hire one of those permitting companies that'll just kind of, you pay them a few $100 and they keep you legal. So that's the plan. Or else we need to just maybe like drive at night or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it, like 12 states across? You guys just hiding from the cops the whole time, nighttime only?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a haul. It's a haul over there. I think Justice added it up. I think 7 states at least, maybe 9.
Yeah, it was a lot. It'll be our own cannonball run. We'll actually make it part of the race.
Yeah, now you're talking the pre R2AK,
Yeah.
Yeah.
R2PT.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, will it be worth it when you get out here? Is that boat going to be fast enough to put on a show?
I think it'll do a lot better than most. I'd be fooling myself if I said, "Hey, we stand a chance at winning this thing." Like, when you look at some of the competition and some of the boats that are in the fleet, and that's just based on years past. If you now you're expanding the fleet to like 85 boats, which that's there's going to be a lot of variety out there, a lot of probably big dollar boats that people are bringing up to race, and um, yeah, we'll do our best.
I was gonna say, I think it is our goal is for completion, at least my perspective. Completion, if we have an opportunity at one point to race, so be it. But we'll be happy winning, just making it.
Now, it's a shame Steven couldn't have been here with us because I know that he's done it a few times, and I'm curious if he feels the same way about that.
So yeah, we tried to bring him on here. He's filling the role as our technical advisor, being a two-time offender. So he's definitely done it and does offer some good insight. But yeah, I'm not sure he thinks that we can do it because he as you probably know, he owns a lot of really fast multi-hull boats. A lot of like record holders and prior Mad Dog owner and that sort of thing. So like he knows a fast boat and he knows how to run a boat, but I don't know. Hopefully our seamanship and crew skills don't let him down, and the boat will do what the boat's gonna do. So
Yeah, well, I was seeing that both of you guys have a bunch of big Coast Guard vessel kind of experience, but do you have any kind of experience with this kind of race before?
not the race itself. Grew up sailing, Hobie Cats and kind of lake sailing in South Carolina, but this will be the biggest like long distance race that I've done, and Justice has done a few more, and of course Steven, he's done a lot of sailing, so um, I actually bought the boat from him. Saw it on the he posted it for sale on the R2AK like racers forum, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, whatever it was, and I was kind of in the I knew I was going to do it, but I was kind of thinking about building an Angus Row Cruiser. And I'm like, all right, I'll just slog my way up there. I'll take my time. It'll be like a midlife crisis, journey or whatever. But Steven posted that. He's like, man, people have already done that. Let's do something different. So I bought this boat from him that he found in a barn and hadn't been, in the water registered or sailed, I think, since maybe 2010. So anyway, got it back and started kind of going through the boat, found a bunch of rotted spots, and you know was supposed to be like sailing and getting it tuned up all summer, and I worked on it all summer instead. So um, anyway, that was kind of how it went. But I think we're getting there. The boat's gonna be good. She'll be seaworthy. We got to do a few more things to the trailer this spring to be able to get it all the way out there to Port Townsend. But yeah,
No, I feel that. I mean, it's I was curious if you bought it from Steven, what drew you to this one instead of one of those light fast tries I keep seeing him advertise on the Same Racer forum.
this one is, believe it or not, I think it's going to be pretty comfortable. Like there's room to sleep probably two, four, six people in it if you had to, and everybody could have their own little spot. But I think it's only 25 foot long and 10 and a half foot wide plus the amas. It would just get a little slow and a little too heavy, I think, with that many people. So we're trying to keep it at three and see what we can do. So we still got some work to do on our pedal drive, but still brainstorming, kicking around a few ideas, but yeah, that probably needs to start happening here in the next month or so, unless we want to just say, all right, we're paddling and do
Yeah.
paddle like everybody else that didn't put the forethought into building the pedal drive. So
If you get even a couple of cut up bicycles together, I think you'll probably pretty happy to have that and not the paddles off the side. She's pretty high freeboard even for the stand up paddleboard, eh?
Yeah, it probably has about 4 foot of freeboard, because
Wow.
it only draws like maybe 12 inches or less, so it doesn't really draw hardly anything. But that's one of the things we got to do coming up here is we've got some sweeps that Steven's got that we got to kind of fit on there and see what the geometry does to be able to either use that as a backup or a primary if we have to. But yeah, we'll it's definitely on our high on our list of things that got to get knocked off quick. So,
Yeah, totally. Are you feeling confident you'll have it all done in time for the race, or is there any time pressure worries?
I don't think so yet. I mean, once we kind of made it through the new year though, and you start thinking, okay, June is still 6 months away, but now we're already into February. So, okay, June's 5 months away. And then, you know, by the time the weather kind of warms up around here enough to do a little more fiberglass in and that sort of thing, I'm another month from that. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's all going to come together. But I know one of the questions on there was how many hours of sleep you're going to get the night before the race. And I didn't really want to commit to like, yeah, we're going to get a full 8 hours because I think we're probably going to be, you know, tweaking a few things down to the end and making sure we got everything and all that stuff. So,
Oh yeah. Up till the crack of dawn, finishing that pedal drive and
mhm. Yeah, the boat's kind of unique too, where like, it's got like an engine hatch where you could access the outboard under there. So once we pull the outboard, we were like, well, we can stick a pedal drive through that little hole in the deck and, kind of keep everybody in the boat pedaling versus a lot of the boats you see where there's bikes hanging off the back or whatever. So, that's kind of our thought there, but hey, worst case we can row. So
well, and you mentioned the Amas, and I think a lot of people that see pictures of the boat are going to be curious about that. What are they for? What's the deal?
I think it was just to help the riding moment on the boat. Like, the boat's only 10.5 foot wide with like a 30-foot mast. So it's got a taller mast for the width of the boat. And that just, kind of gives you a little help keeping it upright, I guess. So, which is the ultimate goal till we get to catch a cannon, hopefully back. So,
Yeah, is that something you've worried about or thought about too much? Is the possibility of capsize?
I think you always kind of think about it on a catamaran, because they don't want to return like a monohull does, So, there is a moment there where you're like, all right, no matter what we do, we aren't getting it back here. So, uh, definitely going to lean on Steven for some of that. We still got some training to do here this spring with everybody to kind of get in sync and figure out the flow of things. But I think we'll get there.
You looking forward to that, Justice? Are they gonna have you out on the wings at all days, hours of the day and
Abs-
night?
Yeah, absolutely. The adventure is actually I'm looking forward to. And what's nice is Nate's down in the East City, the Outer Banks area, and where he's at actually has it seems that every week they have pretty high winds, so we'll have plenty of opportunity to go ahead and test her out. And we're talking about capsizing. I'm not concerned with that. I am actually more concerned with the wind not being there, and then us fully relying on paddling or that freeboard and paddling is what scares me the most, let me tell you. But hopefully a pedal drive we can figure out and work that out. And I tell you what, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything in particular that you guys are really excited for? Is it just the finishing, or is there what else on the coast?
I'd say finishing. There's a lot of things that do like kind of keep me up at night, like, for sailing 24/7 and it's dark and the logs don't go away when it gets dark up there. So there's, from everything I've seen, there's a lot of logs in the water. And when I looked at kind of how what 7 millimeters of Akumi plywood looks like with just a thin skin of fiberglass, you're like,
It's just like that, eh?
yeah, it's not much. So definitely going to get our damage control kit, kind of squared away and maybe add another 12-volt dewatering pump on the boat. So that way we can hopefully affect repairs if need be. But yeah, I tell you, there's a lot there's a lot that'll keep you up. And I'm sure as the race gets a little closer, like yeah, it's going to although that list of things that you got to worry about or gotta take care of is going to keep getting longer. So
Yeah, those after work checklists just keep getting more and more frantic, right?
yeah, I've got a little whiteboard on the wall behind me here, and I keep adding things on there, but I'm not really checking too many off. So I need to get my stuff together here and be like, all right, we gotta grind here. So.
Yeah. So are all three of you in different spots? Like when do you guys get to all meet up and start to work on things together?
So Justice is up just outside DC. I'm kind of by the Outer Banks, and then Steven is about 2 hours south of me. So we're like right on the Albemarle Sound and the Pamlico Sound. So we do, like Justin was saying, we do get some decent weather here. Like we just had that snow come through a couple of days ago, and it was gusting to probably 60 out there, right off my back porch. So it
Wow.
definitely wouldn't want to be out there sailing, but it looks pretty angry when it's out there like that. But it'll be a good spot to kind of test some of those things and kind of push the limits before we drag this thing 3,000 miles across the country to race it to Alaska. So if it can't handle this, it probably can't handle some of the stuff that we could see in the race. So.
Oh yeah, you know, 60 knots, perfect test ground. You get your anchor out, see if that 4 feet of wind will drag you anywhere. And
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
oh man. And you mentioned something in the registration about 3D printing parts. Is that something you're doing a lot of on the boat?
We've printed a few. We've made I made a roller furler mass. The one that was on the boat when I bought it from Steven was kind of like some, plywood and epoxy, and it was kind of cracked up and, made in 1988 or 94. There's a little disparity when the boat was made there. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, kind of got some heavy duty like 3D print material and had a buddy of mine draw it up and Fusion 360, and a day later I pulled it out and it seems to be holding up. So we'll cross our fingers. I might even print a spare just in case because they don't hardly weigh anything, and might not be a bad idea to have a few spare parts on the boat. So
All those extra bunks for the crew members you're not using, you just fill
yeah,
those full and you'll be
fill them up, fill them up.
Exactly.
That's right. No, I feel like I've dealt with some of like the cosmetic stuff because I do a little boat canvas too, on the side too. So I've done new cushions and new covers and some of that stuff. So it's gonna look good, but hopefully it'll perform as it looks out there. So
well, you know, the red paint, the red canvas makes it go faster, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see. I'll let
That's
you
what
know. I'll
I
let you
thought.
know.
Yep.
You know,
Oh
it
man.
it needs a fresh paint job. We didn't necessarily want to do that until the spring when we got done rubbing on bulkheads and all that stuff when we were getting in the water. So we'd give it a fresh paint job before we hit the road and, try and have it presentable when we get to Port Townsend. So
How long did it take you? And you said you were solo.
Solo on a heavy monohull, and it was 15 days, 2 hours, I think. I was pretty happy with it.
so what did you do in Ketchikan? Did you sail back then or did you have a
I sailed back, yeah, and I managed to avoid the logs mostly during the race, but then tore off my outboard rudder entirely coming back down Johnson Strait that fall from the race, and I still haven't repaired it. Completely
Battle
ripped
stars.
off, sank immediately.
Wow.
oh man.
Yeah. Just to scare you a bit, you know, I had a full keel. You guys are going in with this thin skin plywood and
The hope is we don't have a lot underwater, so maybe we just scoot right on top of it.
just
It's gonna
slide over the top, you know, like
That's
you're
right.
snowboarding.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be like it'll be like the Dukes of Hazzard going across those things.
You guys just surfing at 12 knots, right over the
Yeah.
top of a deadhead.
Yeah, we figure, what the hull on some of those boats, Mad Dog and some of those others, they're going a lot faster than we were going, and their hulls are even probably thinner than ours. So
Well, you guys have some idea what to do when you run into something as well, right? You guys have seen other people do it, I assume.
yeah, we have seen that.
Yeah.
Usually on some of those boats, they're at least metal or, you know, you have a little more time to effect repairs, but small boats and big holes don't give you a whole lot of whole lot of time to repair. So We'll cross our fingers.
Yeah, yeah. Have you guys thought about the return journey at all? What that's going to be like?
I was actually hoping to find somebody to pay top dollar and sell it in Ketchikan and just fly home and be like, all right, this is all yours. But I don't think I'm going to be that lucky. But yes, we're thinking. So Justice is still on active duty with the Coast Guard, so we might relieve him of his crewmanship duties and catch a can and either pick up a third or another crew member to help bring the boat back. But probably going to sail it back. Debating on going to Prince Rupert and then trying to drive across BC, back home to the East Coast. But I don't know. I've kind of been looking at places I can just donate the boat to, for a tax break and find somebody, on the West Coast so I don't have to drag the whole thing home. But, when I bought the boat, I bought it for this race. So, like, I just didn't need it sitting around my yard rotting away, not getting used. So maybe give somebody else a chance to live their race to Alaska dreams as long as she holds up her end of the bargain.
Well, what happens? What happens in the scenario that she doesn't hold up the bargain? Will you guys come back for another round, or
Yeah, I would like to say yes. Um, I've
you
already
you
kind of
too,
got it.
Justin?
I would, yeah, I would absolutely
You'd
consider
come
it.
back some?
We'd have to make sure we get the journey done. Yeah.
Can we put the caveat in there, like the circumstances under which we didn't make it may dictate our desires to do a second
Yeah.
round.
Yeah. We'll
You
see
know,
how it
if
goes.
if we hit like a log or something in the middle of nowhere and it's like, we're lost at sea or it's a, 2 day swim to get to shore somewhere, like I don't know that I'm gonna want to do it again, but
Yeah.
never say never, I guess.
Depends where that log is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where's the point on the coast where you're like, oh, fuck
That's
it, we
right.
got close enough?
Yeah.
What I guess a question I'd have for you, right? A prior racer. So what are some of the logistics that might be overlooked? What is something that you would pass to us?
Mortgage in Ketchikan is handy to think about beforehand. I think the race boss Jesse does a deal with the Ketchikan Harbor Master where you can get, I think it's 2 nights of free mortgage, and I'm not sure if that's still going on with such a huge crowd, but that's super handy because the collection basin at the end of the race has a very small dock that you could usually stay at for a night, but then after that, you're on your own to find somewhere to take the boat.
And is there limited space to pull up and catch a can? I've been there a couple of times, but I remember there was a lot of like commercial fishing boats and some of that stuff. But
Exactly. And I think like not last year, but last time that ran when I took my boat up, it wasn't too bad. It was, just enough kind of thing. I think this year with so many boats, it's going to be a little bit crowded. People anchoring out across Tongass Narrows.
well, our hope is to make it there early, so before the pack gets there, and we can
Yeah,
do
we'll be
it.
the first ones. Maybe yeah, one top five, right? So
We
Right, right,
can.
tough one. So 10,000 or the steak knives?
I'd be good with either.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say steak knives. You know, 10 grand can come and go, but they've said in the documentary before, like yeah, a set of steak knives that would be something you could hang on to forever, and
Hmm.
so we'll see. I'm not really sure it's going to be a decision we need to ponder too hard, but
I mean, hey, there's always every year there's the stories of the teams that try to make it up there in a week, and 3 weeks later they're like, "We're gonna make it."
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's the thing too. Like I mentioned, Justice is still on active duty. I retire, but I'm a contractor, and I've kind of you know tried to let my boss know like how long I'm hoping to be gone, but it's kind of a crapshoot. Like is it going to take us a week to get there? Is it going to take us 2 weeks to get there? And then is it going to take a week to get home or 2 weeks to get home? And then I got a week on each end to drive. So hopefully I still have a job when I get back. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Are you gonna get court-martialed if the boat's somewhere, near Bella Bella and you're still racing? And
Yeah, exactly. I'll just have to go, yeah, in the hole and stay in a couple years longer to make up that leave debt.
talking about the things people do for Race to Alaska, yeah, that's pretty good.
It seems a lot of people are on the West Coast already, or they're flying in from, who knows where. But I know there was at least one other, at least on the Racers Forum, they were coming from Connecticut maybe, or somewhere in the Northeast. So, I'm sure there's a few making the slog across North America, but yeah, definitely adds to the time commitment of the whole thing.
It surprises me every year. People come from all over the place. There's a good set of teams that are coming from the East Coast or further afield. I think including the big multi-hole competition you guys have, that team of three people on the Diam 24 that's like a rocket.
Steven's got one of those too. So if we end up breaking the boat I've got, between now and June, he's got like 12 others that we could probably put, they're already in trailers even. We can probably just pull those out there and spend a day or two putting them together and, we'll still be in good shape. So we'll see.
You're just tempting the whole Race to Alaska fan club to a bit of sabotage now. Get you guys on an even faster boat. Well, I can't wait to see you guys out here. It's gonna be really fun to watch you. I don't know. Is there any questions you wish I had asked you?
I don't think there's probably a few I could come up with to ask you, but yeah, we're just excited, I think, for the whole experience, kind of, we even said earlier that the drive across and, kind of meeting a few folks, and it's bound to spark some conversations at truck stops on the way across country, and people are going to see this boat towed behind a Sprinter van, in middle America. Like, what are you dudes doing? So, we'll have some stories to tell, and yeah.
Oh, you guys are gonna have a great time. It'll be a ton of fun for you, I hope. Well, guys, I think probably call it there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate the questions and the insight to our questions as well, and look forward to meeting you here in Port Townsend in pretty much just about.
Couple of months.
Best of luck. I think you guys have a good bit of beautiful insanity. I think you got a good chance.
Well, we'll keep you posted.
Hey, great meeting you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks much. We'll look forward to seeing you again here in 5 months and a week.
All right, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Liam.
All right, great chat from Liam there with Team Death Warrant. Hey, are you coming to Victoria? Are you going to hang out on the docks? Are you going to be a part of everything going on for the 3 days the teams are impatiently waiting to finally get going to Ketchikan? When you go, you're going to want to stay somewhere, and you should probably stay at Chateau Victoria. You know why? Well, several reasons. First reason, there are no Airbnbs in Victoria, so stop thinking you're going to find one. 2, Clive's Lounge. If you're there for the cocktails or the mocktails, that's the place for you. And 3, they got 2 other award-winning dining experiences for you, and only just a couple blocks away from the Causeway Docks in the Greater Victoria Harbour Authority. All right, on to our next interview. For this one, I roped in Nikki Henderson. You know her, you love her. She was part of the legendary team Sail Like a Girl, and she is back for the Race to Alaska podcast, this time interviewing the 2 guys from Team Snowflakes.
We were just laughing because, Jeff, you held up a picture of a cup with my name on it. And the funny story is that the reason I'm actually doing this Race to Alaska podcast again this year is because Jesse emailed me with the subject line, "Some R2AK boys are fanboying you." And we still use that thread to plan our podcasts now. So I'm flattered, guys. Thank you. So tell the listeners what's the boat, and give us a couple of sentences on your story.
Okay, I'll start with the boat. It's a Marstrom Tornado. It's a 20-foot catamaran, foam core. It's very light. It's very fast. It really likes light winds. And for me, I heard about the Race to Alaska 2018, and I started getting ready for it. I had a smaller boat, a Dart catamaran that I thought I was going to take. But I realized I needed more sailing experience, so I joined the Everglades Challenge and did a number of those, and learned that I needed to learn a lot more about sailing in open water. And that's also where I met Mike. I crewed on his boat one year. So that's uh, that's how we got together, and that's how I got training for the race to Alaska.
So Jeff and Mike, you guys are together? You got together like you sail together all the time?
No, I can go ahead and take this. So no, Jeff, we went on a blind date for 3.5 days in the Everglades Challenge, and I think it was 2020. Yeah, it would have been 2023. And yeah, we just got, you know, Jeff took up an
Fell
offer,
madly in love?
and we just ended up starting then, and then that was about probably the first time I heard a race to Alaska as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So you're both basically sailing like a sports boat crossed with a beach catamaran, 750 miles to Alaska.
Yep, it's a 20-foot beach cat. It's a little wider than the standard one. It's 10 feet wide, which makes it a real pain in the neck to transport, but makes it a lot more stable on big water.
So you both seem like pretty solid guys, quite calm, quite collected. But this doesn't sound like a particularly calm and collected story.
Well, we've had some adventures along the way. I'm in Ontario, Canada, and I'm close to the Great Lakes. So we decided to create an event of which we're the only participants so far, where we sailed the perimeter of Georgian Bay on Lake Huron, which is 300 nautical miles. We set up some checkpoints along the way. We take some pictures at the checkpoints. We've done it twice. We have failed to actually complete the course. First time we flooded the boat and got a tow in, and then last fall we broke a shroud and got dismasted. So we've been really close both times, but yeah, we've definitely had some adventures getting ready for this race.
In both those races, you didn't complete it. So do you think that the aim for this race or for any of these either solo races or collective races where other people also compete with you, do you think that finishing it is the goal?
Absolutely. I mean, the goal for on Georgian Bay was to find any weaknesses in the boat, in ourselves, in our systems, and we got really good at that. But the Everglades challenges and the race to Alaska, the goal is definitely to complete. As a secondary thing, we noticed there is a 20-foot and under prize, and the tornado is exactly 20 feet. So that's not quite coincidental.
Jeff, I'm sorry to say that you've left me with a little gold mine there, which I can't ignore. Seeing as I'm fascinated by the human psychology of this race, you said you discovered weaknesses in yourselves, and presumably you're planning on overcoming them. So I'd love to hear from both of you in your training. What weaknesses have you personally found, and how are you going to tackle them?
I guess the biggest thing sailing a boat like that is fatigue, because um, it's we found it's not really enough to be fast. You kind of have to be consistent and keep the boat moving. Otherwise, you just have boats passing you while you're sleeping. So we've practiced sailing the boat 3 hours on, 3 hours off, which gets us pretty exhausted after a few days. So on Georgian Bay, there isn't tides, so we were able to just, if there was no wind and we're both exhausted, we just drift and just let the boat drift. And whoever's on watch sort of keeps an eye on things. If they wake up and there's some wind, they get the boat going again. We do know that it's going to be a trickier race to Alaska with tidal currents. We can't just go out in the Strait of Georgia and let the boat drift with the ferry traffic, etc. So I think it's going to be a case of sailing fast when we can, but keeping ourselves well enough rested that we're not going to lose it.
So weaknesses. Jeff mentioned, you went sailing and you found sort of you discovered things about yourself and the boat that he described as weaknesses. I'm wondering if you personally are nervous about anything to do with the race and how you're overcoming that.
I think the other, the weaknesses in the boat. I think we've challenged the boat, and it's better prepared now. Um, we understand what we can do to the boat, and still have a safe boat. The other thing, I think, a weakness is we just realized, um, when you're on shift, it's pretty easy to stay warm because you're constantly doing stuff. But as soon as you go off shift and you're not moving around, just the wind, even in a dry suit, the wind over you will make you cold if you're getting splashed. And so just simple things like having a bivy sack that you can pull around yourself, even if you're not sleeping in a bag or something like that, is enough to overcome that. And then, we also have the wing seats, which keep us a lot drier now as well.
So what you both are describing is basically no sleep, wet, difficult to sleep even if you do go off watch. I feel like that needs some sort of commas around it because I'm not sure off watch counts on a boat like yours. But it doesn't sound very very cheerful. How are you guys going to keep morale up?
Oh, I would say we're able to sleep. It's pretty amazing how rapidly you can fall asleep and wake up. 3 hours is actually a really good amount of time. But morale, I mean, we work really well together. Jeff is the calm, collected guy. let's say I'm less calm and collected, but we're good together. We work really well as a team.
Does less calm and collected mean you're excitable?
Yes, but in a good way.
I always think excited is a good thing. That sounds like a great balance, guys.
Jeff, you probably want to say something.
Honestly, I was going to say that Mike was the calm and collected one and thought things ahead a little further, but okay, I'll take it. Sure.
Well, it sounds like you both think quite highly of each other, which is a pretty important trait for any team to respect one another.
Mike's the kind of sailor that I can fall asleep on the trampoline and I can wake up with the water right beside my face and I'm not worried about it. So um, that's come with a lot of sailing together and a lot of talking and planning. And I don't know anyone else that I would sail like that with.
What about you, Mike? Is that a reciprocal relationship?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff is an extremely competent sailor. He can pretty much fix anything. Yeah, I'm not joking. He can fix anything. You just give him a second and a challenge, and he'll come up with a solution to something. So, yeah, very, very comfortable sailing with Jeff.
So, Jeff, if you're the fix it guy, what top three things do you think a sailor should take to be able to fix anything on board?
3 millimeter Dyneema line has saved us a lot of trouble. I've sort of sewn a sail together that normal sewing wouldn't do. So I just sort of like stitched it together from batten to batten. So Dyneema's near the top of the list, stainless steel wire, and of course, good old duct tape.
And what's the most unusual thing you fixed on the boat with duct tape?
Really, the wire in the Dyneema's gotten a lot more mileage with us. The duct tape is sort of the finishing off to keep it from catching on stuff. Mike, I can't think of anything that was really critical with the duct tape.
Yeah, I agree. If it involves stitching, and he's got either Dyneema or stainless steel wire, we have a pretty good shot of fixing it. And what he failed to mention was when we ripped the sail from Luff to Leech in an Everglades challenge race, he fixed the sail while we were under sail. And you could
Wow.
almost not tell that it was when we were finally done, you almost couldn't tell that it had been torn.
Wow, Jeff, sounds like people might be trying to hire you out onto other people's boats at this rate. I'm not actually sure if that counts as outside assistance if one competitor jumps onto another boat and fixes something for them. What do you think?
Well, it wouldn't be prearranged, so I think it would be good. I mean, for us to pause and help someone out, if they were in danger, no question. If it was just to get them racing again, it might cost a few beers.
So guys, your boat you've named Snowball after Hemingway's cat. Is that right?
That's right. I'm the cat guy. Um, all my catamarans have had cat names along the way, and the last time I was in Florida, we visited Hemingway's estate, and we met the descendants of Snowball, who are all polydactyl cats, six or more toed cats. And it just seemed like a cool thing for a catamaran to be named after that cat.
So do you have a favorite quote by Hemingway?
No, I'm not really don't have that on off the top of my head, but I recognize the quotes, but no, I wouldn't say that I'm quoting Hemingway at any given time.
I mean, naturally, I'm doing a little bit of research before we spoke, so I ended up down a rabbit hole of Hemingway quotes, six-toed cats, and so on. And I came across this quote, which you were both just speaking about one another in such a sweet way. And I actually wrote down a quote: "Never go on trips with anyone you do not love," which is a quote by Hemingway. And it seems like you both have, would you say, a loving friendship? You trust each other with your life.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way I'd want to do this with just an acquaintance. Being a great sailor is great, but you to get around the boys, you can put together some great sailors together, and they might argue and bicker, but you can still have a fast boat. But when you're doing 3 hours on, 3 hours off for days at a time, you need more than that. You need a good friend.
You really, really do. I mean, what do you think for you guys will be, a low moment where you'll feel really grateful to have that other person?
Well, I know at some point that the cold and the fatigue is going to get to us. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's no cabin on this boat. There's there's not much between us and cold ocean water. So we're just, we're both going to get beat down. We're both going to be tired. We're both going to be cold, and we've practiced for this, and we've gotten through it, and we're looking forward to doing it again.
And Mike, when you cross the finish line, which of course we're rooting for you, so hopefully you will cross that finish line and land on the dock in Ketchikan. What would feel? Have you presumably you've imagined that? What do you think would make it feel like it was a success?
Well, just finishing obviously is a success. You know, honestly, I actually haven't envisioned finishing the race. I feel confident that we have a very good shot of doing it, and if there's any way under the sun that we can finish, we will finish. A lot of people would have quit under things that we have worked through, and we definitely persevere. So to me, it's to finish will be awesome in itself. Seeing the scenery and stuff like that, and just enjoying it one step at a time as kind of an unknown that's revealing itself will be very inspiring.
I love that, an unknown that's revealing itself. That's beautiful. What about you, Jeff? What would feel like, yeah, we did what we came here to do if you crossed the line, apart from crossing the line?
I envision crossing the line, and we've all seen the videos of ringing the bell, and that's great. I, I'm more envisioning the problems, like what am I going to do when this happens, and not if things happen, but when things happen, and just it's like, so when we're just too cold to keep going, it's like that's the moments I'm envisioning, and sort of like, okay, what are we going to do about that? And the for the finishing, I mean, I'm really excited about that, but I've already won. Like we've done so much sailing together. I've got this great friend. We've learned so much about ourselves and sailing that, you know, we've already won.
Oh, guys, that is so sweet. I feel like, that in itself will hold you in such good stead. And it sort of means that whatever happens on the race, whether you finish, whether you don't, whether you crash, whether you don't, you're going to feel like you've had a good time because you're hanging out with a mate. And that community is so important to the race. From times I've done it, one thing I've always laughed at is over the couple of weeks, beforehand and, through the proving ground, teams seem to get themselves reputations and they kind of get nicknames or people sort of talk about the team that is, the hippie team or, the kind of crazy team or the party team or, what do you think your reputation will be amongst the fleet? What should we be looking out for?
Jeff, you can go ahead and take a shot at that if you want.
Oh, I thought you were going to take the opportunity to brag about how fast we were and that we were the elite team that's going to mop up the 20 and under league. But I guess I said it for you.
All right, Jeff's putting out the big guns. Well, finally, guys, I think everyone is always interested to know, what is your human powered system, and do you want to just give us a bit of a breakdown on that? When I was again researching about Hemingway's cat, and yes, you did kind of hit on the fact that it has a genetic abnormality, and I've sort of taken that and realized that that's basically what we're all doing. We're all taking boats when we do this race or craft and just making them a bit abnormal. Maybe it makes us all feel like we belong because we are all a bit abnormal. Anyway, what are you doing to your boat? How are you changing it? And how are you going to cope with if there's no wind?
We've tried a few different things. Our first long trip, we discovered that paddling a catamaran is not fun and not particularly efficient. So we've moved on to a Hobie um, uh, Mirage drive by another company. It's not a Hobie product, but it's a Mirage drive. It's mounted on the front of the front beam, where we want the weight up forward when there's no wind, and it sort of swings down like an outboard motor, and we can just pedal away there. We use the tiller extension, so whoever's on watch can pedal and steer, and the off watch can rest. We've kind of decided that the flipper drive may not be the most reliable, sorry, not the fastest or most efficient, but it is very reliable. And I'm just confident it's going to get us through 700 miles.
Wow, it sounds like you have an epic race ahead of you because I think I've only just sort of grasped really that you are absolutely not planning on stopping unless you have a breakage. So you guys are going to sleep, pedal, or sail all the way through to the end. Is that the aim? Unless there's bad weather,
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
you're going to be tired when you finish.
I think we can count on that. Yes.
Tired, but even better friends, we hope.
Yeah, once we recognize each other after the race, yeah, we'll be even better friends.
A couple of beers normally helps that.
Twist my arm.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for sharing a little bit about your story and for the tracky junkies out there, that will give them some context so they can follow you along and feel like they connect with you. So thanks for sharing. Any last words for the audience?
I'll let Jeff finish, but I'll say, I am really excited about meeting all the other teams, and I really do enjoy the podcast, learning more about the people, and really just looking to finally meet them when we get out to Washington. Hopefully, we'll be able to share some space with each other along the way and before the race, and during the race, but as Jeff said, I'll put the pedal to the floor and say hopefully they'll be in our rearview mirror.
And Jeff, any words from you?
I kind of have to mirror what Mike said. I'm really looking forward to meeting the other racers and hanging out and exchanging notes. Um, Before the race, we're bringing the boat across country disassembled, and we'll assemble it on the beach at a campground. I think it's called Port Warden, just north of Port Townsend. So we're kind of hoping some of the other racers might be camping up that way too, and we can have a great gam with the other sailors.
All right, guys. So if anyone's listening and you want to hang out with Jeff and Mike, head to Port Warden. Yeah, thanks very much, guys, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Two interviews down, one left to go. This last team on today's episode comes from Minnesota, and they've called themselves Minnesorta Nice. Well, Minnesorta Nice. So I've never been to Minnesota. I've avoided it. No, I haven't avoided it. I just have never been. And your team is Minnesorta Nice. Famously, you Midwesterners think that you're all very nice. I think it might be fake news. Is there an advocate of Minnesota that someone can make a case for why that's actually true?
I think it's more polite than nice.
Oh, okay.
It's very community, and that part is very nice. People welcome you to gatherings and things like that. So that part is nice, and so I think that's the Minnesota nice. And they'll stop and loan you a jack if you have a flat tire on the side of the road or something like that.
We do that too.
I think another example would be like there's 5 of us. If we had a box of 6 donuts and you get down to that last donut, who's going to eat? Like everyone's like, oh no, you have it. Go ahead. Like no one wants to take the last one.
Mm.
But there's
Right.
also definitely like an undertone of like passive aggressive cliquishness.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part also of the expression of Minnesota nice. Like it's nice superficially, but there's also kind of a little undertone of kind of clicks and passive aggressiveness. So we really liked the sorta in Minnesota nice because I think it captures something about what it's like to be here.
Okay. So let's get into sailing. In the sailing community out there, does that manifest the cliquey nature of things?
It's hard to say because the local sailing group itself is a really small, kind of isolated group of people. So I think for sure, like if you look at the Minneapolis sailors, the Duluth sailors, the folks that go out of Bayfield in the Apostle Islands, there's kind of a different vibe for each of those groups. Like, some of the Duluth sailors will probably show up in like flannel and not talk a lot and kind of have slightly older boats. And sometimes you can kind of tell like who's who and what group they're in by kind of sort of how they talk and what they're wearing. So I think there's certainly kind of cliques across clubs. I don't know about inside the club. What do you guys think?
Everyone's being too polite to talk first.
That's part of it.
Oh man, this is an audio medium, All right, so I'll fill in the gap here. So my question now is, you're all so damn nice, so I'm going to force you to answer the question. What Midwest state produces the absolute most terrible sailors? Go.
Iowa.
Oh, throwing down.
I want to say North Dakota because that's where Greg's from. Is that right?
Okay, so the lakes. I've never sailed on the lakes myself. I've avoided them at all costs. There's something creepy and wrong about bodies of water that big without salt in them, in my mind. But you've done a lot of sailing on the lakes. You've also done the pack cup, so you've spent time together on the big saltwater, and you've trailered your boat Tweety, the Olsen 30, out there to do that, and you're going to be trailering it out again. So that trip on the Olsen 30 on the Pack Cup, what did you learn coming from all this lake sailing? I don't know if you've all sailed ocean before that. What did you learn on that trip together as a group?
I'll throw out the answer of the corrosive power of salt water.
Oh my God.
We with freshwater, we often get things like electronics wet with minimal ill effects, and that was not the case with the salt water. So that was a big learning curve.
What broke?
Pretty much all our electronics like shorted out, like one by one.
Yeah, we had to rewire some stuff in the fuse panel, try to like move things around to the good fuse for a bit. We lost an iPad that was our primary weather routing device. That was kind of a bummer.
Sounds fun.
It was okay. I was really blown away by the waves. We have waves here, but they're like short, close together, and angry. And the waves out there were just like so spaced out and so enormous. And like the interactions between like the little waves and the huge columns of water, and how like if things got timed right, all of a sudden you were staring down like a mountain of water and the boat would just take off. And if things didn't work out right, then like, you'd run into a wave in front of you and you wouldn't even know it was there because it was 2 a.m. until like all of a sudden, the boat just is going 13, 14 knots and it just stops and a wall of water comes back. And just all that shit was really crazy and wild and took a couple of days to get used to.
How long did that trip take?
14 days.
And did you see some really big conditions? I'm hearing big waves, but they can be slow period. Was there a lot of wind out there on that trip?
The locals said that it was an unusually high number of squalls at night. And at least for me, that was the part that was really wild, was just the increase in wind and waves at night and the boat just sort of surfing into vast nothingness, and you're hoping there's not a wave that you're about to spear. And just like, I think the thing that Melissa said about the boat captured it the best. It's like the boat had an epic case of the zoomies that dogs get, where the boat was just so happy to be surfing down waves that it was just going really, really fast the whole time. And at least for myself, I felt like my job was to just try to kind of hold on and keep it upright and figure out how to not freak out.
Okay, so that's ocean sailing. Now, Race to Alaska is kind of coastal sailing. And one thing you haven't got in the lakes, obviously, are the tidal currents. We've got pretty big tidal currents. Has anyone here on this team been in any serious tidal currents before, or is this an entirely new endeavor for you?
Brand new.
So how do you prepare for that while you're over there eating hot dish?
You know about hot dish. That's great.
That's all we know about you guys. I had to look that up on the internet.
Yeah, hot dish, friendly to your face, and then passive aggressive behind your back, and you live here now.
Yeah. But what do you do? So you can look at tide charts, but the lived experience of being on your boat in your body in those conditions and struggling to get somewhere when it seems like you should be getting there, but you're not. How are you preparing yourselves for that? Nick, you haven't said much. Go for it.
I don't have experience, and I haven't looked into it closely.
Oh, you ignore it. Okay, is that the Midwestern thing? You just pretend it doesn't exist? I don't know. I'm just trash talking.
Just deal with it as it comes.
Deal with it as it comes. That's a technique. It's been done a lot of times.
Yeah, I think podcasts and blogs and old books has been the start.
All right, let me look at my notes here. Speaking of hot dish, how many and what flavors are coming along with you, and how do you freeze dry hot dish?
The classic Minnesota hot dish is tater tots, some kind of meat, cream of mushroom soup, and next to no seasonings. It's supposed to be as bland as possible.
So as bland as possible, and you can't even know what type of meat is in it.
No, it's usually hamburger, right? Is that right?
Or no
Yeah.
meat. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
no meat. Yeah. And kind of soggy tater tots. Ooh, green beans from a can, not
Delicious.
fresh beans.
Mhm.
That's classic. Cream of mushroom soup. Maybe if you really want to push it a bit, some salt and pepper.
All right. I'll get off the Minnesota thing, but just one more question. What would you like the rest of the world, those of us who pay zero attention to you whatsoever, what would you like us to know about you as a people?
Ooh.
Melissa, I think you have an answer.
Oh, really?
I see it in your face.
I'm going to go back to sailing. I'm going to say that the Great Lakes are pretty legit for sailing. They're big bodies of water and they're cold water. So I'm going to throw that out there.
I mostly wanted someone to answer who had like a legitimate accent.
I think that would be me.
Yeah, I think that's you.
Let's talk Race to Alaska and how your team got together, how the inception of this idea came together. Who first came to know about Race to Alaska and when? Or is it just in the zeitgeist and you just
I
know?
think it's just in the zeitgeist up here. It's in the zeitgeist everywhere. You guys have done such a marvelous job of sort of advertising it and getting the word out. I don't know that like there's a coherent story about like, oh, Melissa figured it out first and introduced the rest of us. I think we all knew about it and we were all thinking about it.
It's been a slow build to finally pull on the trigger.
Yeah, maybe a bit. I mean that trip we took out west to Hawaii, I think showed us that we could do this kind of thing. And it was a really great ride. So we were kind of thinking a little bit about how the four of us could have another adventure like that. And we'd all been aware of this race and kind of, bucket list, I think, for all of us. And now's the time, brother, right? I mean, we've got the boat and we've got the crew and we did okay a couple of years ago and let's try it again. At least that'd be my story of kind of how this happened. What do you guys think?
For the Pacific Cup, it's generally kind of a butt kicker to start with the first few days of the race, and we had a lovely light wind, so we got to see like so much wildlife and just really enjoy the coast. So for me, that was a big thing. I know we're going to get all the weather and a really varied experience, but uh, West Coast sailing, that was pretty nice.
The logistics. We have all these teams that bring their boats from God knows where, and you're going to be driving your boat out here again. What kind of time commitment have you got for this race? I mean, the race starts on June 14th. You have until July 9th to get there. I imagine you won't take that long. But what kind of time do you have to put into this?
Yeah, I think we're still trying to figure that out. We've got a little bit of an advantage here. Greg and I are both teachers, so we have the summers off. Mrs. retired, and Nick has a flexible work schedule. But at some point we're gonna have to like sit down and open a beer and try to figure out, okay, who's driving it out? How early are we going to leave? How early do we want to get there? One of the things we think we've learned is that it's good to get there earlier than later because things go wrong and kind of good to settle in. When Nick and I got to San Francisco early, we sailed in the bay a couple of days and kind of got used to salt water a little bit and high wind and something on the boat broke and fixed it. And Nick's a clever guy. He's an engineer, and he figured out right away we need like wipes for our glasses because they're crusted over in salt, and knee pads because it's so wavy and we're just banging around on the boat. So definitely get out there early enough to do that. But I have no idea when we're leaving. Have you guys thought about that at all?
Not exactly, but I figure it took us like, it took us 4 days to get out there, right? Like,
Yeah,
So this is turning
yeah,
into a team meeting right now.
kind
Sounds
of.
like
Yeah, yeah.
I can help
I don't know.
or get in the way. Happy to.
Yeah, we're also worried about coming back. Um, I think the current plan is yank the boat up there, a little bit south of Ketchikan, wherever that marina is, and then maybe just like I don't even know if this is possible. Can you just like drive diagonally across Canada to the top of Minnesota? So we need a plan there too. Race Spots, do you have any words of wisdom here? We
Are
don't.
you asking me
We
for
need some help.
advice?
Yeah, we don't know how to deal with currents. We don't know how to get the boat home. Probably gonna have trouble with saltwater corrosion in our instruments. We're kind of helpless here. Could you point us in the right direction?
You'll figure it out.
Oh man. Okay.
You'll figure it out. Yeah, I have to abstain, because if I start handing that advice, they're gonna fire me probably.
You at least have to tell us what kind of like big ridiculous anchor setup should we get?
Oh,
Like
jeez.
what's the terrain out there? Because we've just got like puny cute little Danforth
Well,
for
that's
like
cute.
gentle sand, but I'm like what do we need? Like
I mean, I could rattle off all sorts of names and weights. I don't know if they would make sense for your boat. I could lead you astray. You're gonna need a 300-pound Navy anchor. That'll do the job. The fact of the matter is, there's so many places along the course where you're committed. Say you're north of Seymour Narrows, you're in Johnstone Strait. That is a tunnel. It's a wind tunnel that has sheer cliff faces, and it's 200 feet deep, 10 feet off the cliff face. So, no matter what the hell anchor you have, probably not going to help you in that situation, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We could start talking about life rafts to answer that question.
We're pro life raft.
No, I jest. I mean, there's a lot of places to anchor. The racer community online, man, they talk about this stuff in circles. People bring all sorts of good things, and generally all these things are kind of figured out. So I would defer to the people who actually do the race. I'm just the kid who like pokes the bear. I don't actually do the race, right? I just sit in my little command center and push buttons.
You talk to people.
I talk to people. I don't pay attention
Yeah.
though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit of gear. Let's talk a little bit about the stuff you're going to bring. Luxury items. Life without luxury items is not a life worth living. But you can't bring that much. I mean, you already have enough people on this boat. Do you consider keeping weight down? Are you the sort of team that thinks about cutting your toothbrushes?
Nope.
Not at all. Okay, great. So you've got a lot of weight you could bring. You've got a lot of options for luxury items. What are those going to be?
We figured some of this out during Pacific Cup. Like we figured out the ideal helm chair. So it's like a thermarest meets Crazy Creek chair. Like it's a thermarest and you fold it up and you can it's comfy.
Oh,
and it stays dry.
it slides into the thing and you got the straps.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a
very
strong
enjoyable.
move. So a chair, that's pretty spicy.
Mhm.
I bring a pair of underwear for every day. I don't care.
Ooh. Wow, that's pretty liberal.
I bring a bottle of wine for emotional emergencies.
Okay. Nick?
We probably got to include coffee. That's quite a luxury, right? Coffee and lens wipes.
Yeah.
So in addition to being sailors yourselves, are you like Race to Alaska fans? Do you follow in real time? Do you have favorite teams, that sort of stuff?
I followed as much as I can, but it is incredible how much content you guys make.
Yeah. I'm in the same situation as Nick.
Well, because I was going to ask, are there any teams that if you were not a part of this team, is there a team that you'd like to glom onto? I don't know if you've been paying attention to the podcast so far this year or what's on the website already.
I can't believe those folks are doing it in the Melges 24. I don't know that I'd want to be on that boat, but it'd be fun to be like near it and watch it go ripping along and see what those guys try to do at night when they're, cold and tired and they just want to get some sleeping out of the elements. I think that's pretty baller.
So it sounds like Duluth is supporting you. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
There's been quite a bit of enthusiasm. Like, for example, our yacht club has a monthly social. So this month, the social is they're going to show the Race to Alaska movie. So that'll be pretty fun. And the local rowing club hooked us up with quite a bit of gear to try to get us rowing that Olsen 30 to Ketchikan.
Mhm.
It's been pretty nice.
Yeah.
A guy that's on the same dock as we are gave us his extendable bowsprit and asymmetrical spinnaker to go with it. And then two other Olsen guys gave us their asymmetrical spinnakers. And a J105 guy really wanted us to take a spinnaker from him too. And he kept giving us these ASIMs, and we'd put them out on this little 4-foot pole in the fall series, and they were all way, way too big. I mean, like just dragging 3 or 4 feet in the water. And we'd get back to the dock, and I'd be like, "Here's a wet spinnaker. I'm sorry. Thank you so much." And he'd be like, "Oh, I got a smaller one. I got a smaller one." And then the next week would repeat, and now it's only 3 feet dragging in the water. And I'd give it back to him, and he'd be like, "No, I got a reacher. This is gonna work. This is gonna work." That guy tried so hard to give us free shit.
Well, shout out to everybody there in Minnesota helping out. And hey, I'm sure that more than normal listeners from the Midwest are listening to this particular episode. Make sure that you're signed up on the email list so you can watch this team. And your role, team, is to make sure that everybody knows all the ways that they can follow you on the race course. So before we go away, this is the part where you've got the attention of the race boss if you have any questions.
Row or pedal? Because we're playing around with both.
Pedal. Bring extra chains. Bring extra pedal gears. Make sure that the thing's actually bolted to the boat properly, because there are more than a few pedal drives sitting at the bottom of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Or both, I guess. Both is good too. Last year, or in 2024, we had someone with a pair of flippers hanging off the transom. You could do that as well. It's an auxiliary to your auxiliary.
How do you beat a catamaran or a trimaran if you're a monohull that was like hot shit in the late 80s? Like what do we have to do here?
Well, monohulls have won just as often as not. Right? And so what you have to do is I think it's about putting a curse of whatever type you have available to you on the multi-hulls, sabotage them before the race start, give them bad advice about where the logs are not, because that's really what you've got going for you, is you have 1/3 the likelihood that you're going to hit a log as a trimaran. So it's really about being nefarious and thinking bad thoughts.
We could probably pull that off.
Yeah. Well, Minnesota, nice. Look forward to seeing you here in Port Townsend. Don't be strangers. Reach out if you got any more questions. We will maybe answer it. And is there any last things you'd like to say to the world?
Thanks for having us.
Hello, world.
All right. We'll catch you in June. There you have it, episode 5 of the 2026 Race to Alaska podcast season. Join us again next week with more teams and more answers to all your favorite questions. Later, nerds.